asked me this question that I'll never forget. And y'all can write this down. She said, how are your books going to change the world? See what I'm saying? And I was like, wow. I was stuck on that for the whole day. You know, because I'm walking in and everything, I'm doing something. I got this urban lit, I got, you know, I'm talking about this, I'm talking about that, X, Y, Z. Because my books, they not PG. See what I'm saying? I like to write about things that, you know, when I start writing, one of the laws that I write by is that, like, I write me personally, and this is my personal preference, I write stuff that I would like to read. So you as an author, everybody being different, that's the gift that everybody has differently. Because you might could write some stuff that somebody else could vibe to that I can't. You see what I'm saying? That's why each and every one of you guys is unique in your own different way. Anybody can do this. And I encourage you to do this because everybody got their own story. Like I said, everybody want to hear your story. It's my story, it's my shine right now. You know? Everybody got that story. So, I don't want to drift too far off from the platform, right? Because as is this workshop, as in writing a book, everything like that, everything, it takes structure, it requires structure. So the second thing that we're going to talk about is having a passion. Having a passion for what you do.
Can we just take a picture of the cover of the house?
Not leaving, are you?
No.
So, having a passion, right? So, did I wake up one day and just say, oh, I'm going to be an author? No, not in the long shot. Did I ever think that I would be here and doing this? And I didn't even like to write. You know? I wasn't bad at it, but definitely it's just seemed too much like homework, right? So, having a passion, right? So, having a passion, that's what we're talking about. Don't forget this. Everybody say having a passion.
Having a passion.
Good. Great content equals passion. Okay? Why I say that is because behind every great thing was some degree of passion. In order to push that agenda, in order to push that forward, to get to this great content, there was some type of passion behind it. And once you got passion, guess what you got? That's good. But guess what you got? The audience. Right? Because everybody that read and everybody that's checking out your work, they can feel it. They can feel that passion. They can feel the energy that you put into whatever you're putting out. So, don't think that people don't feed off your energy, because they do. And I'm going to get into that. I ran across some brutally honest, because I was out there hunting for reviews. Leave me a review. Leave me a review. You bought my book, then leave a review. That's the most important part. I wasn't ready. Right. But I wasn't ready for those reviews, you know? I wasn't ready for those reviews, man. Those reviews got me to this point today, see? Because, just to give a quick example, review. So I have like, man, good shit like that, shit like this, like, just looks like a third grader wrote it, like, I don't want to read it no more. And just, I'm like, wow, okay, and I tried my best. And at that point I was feeling like, because when you're an author, man, when you write your first book, you're going to want everything to be just the way you want it to be. Because you're like, man, that's my book. You know, you want to feel like you did everything. So at the first stage of my writing career, you know, I felt that my editing, my going over it, you know, my revision of it was good enough when it wasn't, because I was having readers leaving brutally honest reviews, and that was catching things that I didn't catch, that I didn't see. So it became a problem. But passion. Great content equals passion. Once you got the passion, you got the audience. Passion, now the definition of passion. I got the definition of passion for y'all because I want to share with y'all. The definition of passion is a strong and barely controllable emotion, a feeling of enthusiasm and excitement for something. It's a strong feeling that can result in your literary productivity. Now, if you can't see that's from my point of view, I'm telling you, you're going to be successful. That's what I'm telling you. I'm speaking that into the universe. Right? It's a strong feeling that can result in your literary productivity. So, the law of averages says that the more you put into something, the more likely chance that you got to get something out of it. That's the law of averages. Look it up. I didn't make it up. It's the law of averages. The more you produce, the more you put out, eventually something is going to have to give, right? Right.
I apologize. You have to pay for an editor?
That's, see, okay. I'm just going to text things as they come up, as they rock, right? So, editing is another part of putting together a book, because it's like, and that's kind of what I was touching on. I was showing a progression of my writing career from my experience. Was that at first I didn't have the editor, and it was taken away from my work basically. So you will find that it is, I said, to invest in an editor, somebody that is going to have a biased opinion about your work and tell you if there's something that needs to be changed. And that's a whole other hustle, which creates a job for somebody else. Because editors, they pay, I know some people that pay like 10 cents a word, 10 cents a word, something like that. But from my experience, I like to work with editors that do flat rate fees. You see, I got an editor she's a single mom, they don't have a job, you know, so the extra money, it comes in handy, you know what I mean? And I feel like that I'm helping her out. I know she's gonna do a good job. You know, her portfolio says that she used to work in a law firm. She's used to handling legal documents. So she knows what she's doing. I'm willing to put my last penny in her pocket that she'll have everything grammatically correct. And she's pretty reasonable. Like my last projects, I paid about $200 for editing, but it was worth it because everything was just the way it needed to be. And all of those brutally honest reviews that I was getting got cut in half. All right? Right. Because when you're writing, when you're doing something, you want to feel like, you just want to.
What's the medium that you're getting these reviews? Is it just like personally responding? Like people are personally like reaching out to you and telling you your own reviews? Are you on like a book review site?
I have a blog page.
Okay.
I have a blog page, and I see a pretty good, decent amount of traffic through that blog page. You would actually be surprised how many people is in the blog world, things like that. And
so they're like comments.
I ask for comments because as an author, I want to know how I can make my product better. So, okay, and another thing, this is what I'm going to share with y'all.
What do you want to say?
My blog site is Arthur King William, AUTHOR. Let's see. And just on a quick side note, see, that's marketing. You see, as you become your marketing. Arthur King Williams. Matter of fact, it's on my business. It's on the business card. It's on there. Blogspot.com. And that's gonna fall into another category that I'm getting into a little bit later. It's called branding. Branding yourself, branding your business, branding yourself, a brand. You know, you want to pop. Eventually, you want to pop. You want to pop like a McDonald's Golden Arch. That's how you want to pop. You know, and I don't care where you go. You see that arch, you know what it is, right? Cool. So, this is what I want to give away to y'all. This is important. This is, see, I learned this way, so y'all gotta go through this. And this is one of the main reasons and the most important reasons why it's important to have this workshop so I can give away this information. Let me write this down so you can see this, because it's real important. This is a jewel right here. Put this in your jewel bag. Do I got any darker markers? I'll put it over here. This is a jewel right here. Be your own publishing company and learn to do things yourself. So I'm just gonna reflect back from my experience. So, like I said, when I wrote my first book, remember that ambition that I had inside of me to figure out how to get my book from manuscript into print and get it on the market. So, initially, my first book ever that I ever wrote, I actually published it through a major publishing company. And you know, when I looked up this publishing company, it seemed like they would do everything for me. That they had my back. You know, we do this, X, Y, Z, woo, woo. They had all of these pretty little packages, the ruby package, the diamond package, sapphire package, you know, all of these little different things. And so I ended up paying to get published my first time around. And, you know, they would contact me about putting together book signings and things like that. Book signings that I had to pay out of my pocket like $5,000, stuff like that. Like, I'm writing books to make money. Like, I don't pay out $5,000 to put together a book signing for me. That's just crazy, right? Trying to make money. Something right? So, in that moment, it's meaty right here. It's meaty. It's a diamond right here. It's a diamond. Don't lose it. So, it was at that very moment that I thought to myself, I said, you know what? Maybe I need to figure out what it is that the publishing company actually does for me and what it is all entailed in that, and figure out how to do it myself. What? And I did it, and I've been doing it ever since. Cut out the middleman. Yes, I did. I cut out the middleman. And that was because I learned to be my own boss. I learned to be my own publishing company, and I learned how to do things myself. The things that you gotta learn, they're really not that hard. And they don't change. That's the good news. So once you learn it, you know it. You know it like the back of your hand. So like when I get done writing my book and I got everything timeline, I put everything together, then I know exactly the way to format it. You know what I mean? Those numbers never change. You know, I need to have 0.5 space for the spine. I need to have 0.5 for the trim and all of those different little things. But I'm going to get into that. I haven't got that far yet. So, be your own boss. And so, yeah, I pretty much learned how to do things myself. And then this is the negative right here. So, Just imagine the feeling that I felt when I actually realized you just publish your own book, which now makes you a publisher. Because if I'm able to do it for myself, then I'm able to do it for somebody else, right? Exactly. And that's what it's about, man. That's what life is about. It's about learning. It's about, when I think about myself as a jack of all trades. I wish I could be an Arthur 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Don't gotta go nowhere, don't gotta do nothing, don't gotta get up and go to work and work on people's cores, because that's what I really do every day. Work on cores. I'm an automotive technician. But I have a passion for writing. That's what I'm here to do. So,
I don't want to record it.
my writing is pure entertainment and storytelling that is fun. That's how I think about my writing. My writing is pure entertainment, although some things, and maybe 50% of the things that I'll talk about, I have experienced, if not myself, with someone around me in some kind of way. People want to read about some real things that they can relate to, you know? And what I learned over time is that this craft that I have, there's a lot of people out here hurting. And I got some real game. Because when some higher up people start seeing the things that I was doing, they was telling me, man, you need to use your gift to heal, to be a healer. There's a lot of people hurting out here. So in my world, what that transformed into me was that, man, I don't need to be out here writing books about selling dope, you feel me, pimping, robbing, all of these things that is like plaguing my community already. You see what I'm saying? I need to come up with a solution, a resolution. I need to be writing about some things that can uplift people in my community. I need to be writing about some things and giving away some information that can help somebody, like it helped me. And I'm just, once again, like I said, I'm just speaking from my personal experience. Okay, what I had in mind when holding this workshop was passing along some information that will help you out. That was the sole purpose of this workshop. You know what the biggest fear of this workshop was? That nobody would show up. The devil is a lie, ain't he? Right. We in here live in effect, and I'm giving away some information to you guys. All right, so the next thing I'm gonna talk about, we moving right along. So don't think we ain't getting nowhere, y'all. We is moving right along, man. And it's just the beginning. It's just the beginning. So the next thing I want to talk about, this is important. A lot of people ask me, how do you do it? You know, when I wrote my first book, they thought I was playing. When I wrote my second book, they thought I was playing. When I wrote my third book, I was like, oh, you ain't making no noise. When I started getting to my fourth and my fifth book, people start taking me more serious. And they start understanding that Arthur King Williams has a passion for writing. Okay? One of the biggest things that you need to remember when you put together a book is timeline in your project. So every time, before I get ready to write a book, I'm sitting down and I'm thinking about what do I actually want to happen in this book. You see what I'm saying? Like everybody knows what the timeline looks like, right? And I'm going to talk about this later too, because another category is staying focused. You gotta stay focused. This is a process. You gotta stay focused. And the process is getting from A to Z, from start to finish. That's your task at hand. You know, because some days you're not gonna feel like writing. Like I said, I'm not a full-time worker. I have a job, so like when I go to work, and like it's just come from discipline, from having a passion for writing, that I know that I need to put away 1 to 2 hours a day, or if not every day, every other day, just solely for writing. to being productive, to getting further, you know, streaming on something. Because I sometimes I got 2-3 projects I'm working on at one time, you know. So when I come home, I want to make sure that I want to feel like that I made some type of progress. All right. So timelining your book is important.
How do you stay like creative? How do you make sure you're always like coming up with something, making sure that it's progressing?
It just comes. That's what I'm saying. It's having a passion. You see what I'm saying? You ever heard that saying? It's in me, not on me. Yeah, that's how it is. It's like, cause it's in me so hard that sometimes I just wish I had a notebook in my back pocket so I could just write this down. You see what I'm saying? That's how it is. You see what I'm saying? And that's how it gotta be. You see what I'm saying? Cause you never know when it's gonna come. That's the thing about your brain and your mind is that it's like, man, the mind is a terrible thing to waste, but the mind is a great thing. See? And it's a beautiful thing when the stars align. You ever heard that? It's a beautiful thing in our minds. Our minds are like the stars, you see? And just to go off on a tangent like I do, it's a story that's in the Bible that I like. It's called the Tower of Babel. And it's like, not to get religious or anything, nothing like that, but like the Bible, it's a document. It's like a long-lived document that is nothing foreign to nobody here. Everybody heard of it, knows one or everything. There's a story in the Bible called Tower of Babel. And it's basically about these one people, the Babylonians, and these people were efficient. They were the ish. You know what I mean? They like, the Bible said anything these people put their mind to would not be impossible. You see what I'm saying? So like basically they could do anything they wanted to as long as they put their minds together. And if you think about it, that's why I like this story is like we're the same way. So the end of that story, you know, God broke them all up into different languages. You see what I'm saying? Because they was too powerful as on one accord. So he broke them all up into different languages so they couldn't understand each other. And that's, you know, that's what it broke them. You know? Then when nothing wasn't it, anything that they put their mind to wasn't impossible. But I said that to say that's the same way that we are. You see what I'm saying? More heads, 2 heads is better than one. You heard that, right? So it's like the more positive energy you got around you, the more successful you're gonna be. Back to the platform at hand. Timelining your book. Timelining your book is important because you want to restrain a certain order in your story. You see what I'm saying? Because if you're anything like me, then you go off on tangents and you'll have to read a loss. You know, 1 minute you talk about this, 1 minute you talk about that, they don't know what you're talking about. See what I'm saying? So there gotta be some structure to what you're doing. You see? So once you got structure, you got a story. You know? Once you get, okay, I want this to happen, I want this to happen, I want this to happen, and I want it to happen in this order. And then, once you have that foundation, then you come back and you tweak it and, you know, add to it, take away what you like, what you don't like, what you can put in here to make it better, all that type of stuff. But before any of that happens, you got to timeline your project. Okay? So you don't get lost yourself. Not only the reader, not only you're going to lose yourself before you can lose the reader. Right?
Right.
Okay. So, it is very important to look at a glance in full where you really want to go with your project. It's basically what I just told you guys. Right? Timeline. To timeline your project basically means to organize it. Right? So, to timeline your project is to organize it. You know? So, I mean, that's with anything. You know, the person that's more organized or whatever is, you know, definitely going to be the more efficient person, the person that you want to put your money on. Right? So when I'm writing my books, I shoot for around 200 to 250 pages. So from my experience, that's another thing I bet that all you guys are wondering right now is like, wow, how many pages does it actually take to make a book? And you'll be surprised because it's like, I think it's like somewhere around, don't take my word for it, but like usually it takes 20 notebook pages of paper, you know, like regular 3-hole punch paper. About 20 of those pages, would equal to about 10 book pages, which is to say, like, whatever you write is going to be broken in half. Like, once you actually send it to the print and it get edited and all of the sizing and the line spacing and everything gets orchestrated into your project, then you're going to lose about 50% of that. You know, so that's just to give you an idea of how many pages. That's just from my experience. Like I said, it also depends on which size book that you're writing. I'm speaking about 6x9 book format, double spacing. Okay? I double space my books because, like, my first book, they said everything's too much together, it's hard to read. So, you know, I think my finals is between 12 and 14.
You put that book in terms of numbers of words.
Well, I'm gonna tell you, the typical manuscript, if you was to submit your story to a publisher, that would require that your manuscript be at the least 30,000 words. Yes, 30,000 words, that's a lucky number. That's if you're going through a major publishing company. Publishing your own work, there is no set number of words, you know.
Do you see any value in different fonts in, like, on each page? You know, you see some of these books that they'll have like 5 or 10 sentences, and then all of a sudden the words are like really big.
Right.
You know, when they want to make a point or something and change the font. Do you see value in that?
I do. What I like to do is, like, things that are to be important or like that I want to put emphasis on to the reader when I'm writing it, I usually like to have it in italics. I think that's right?
Well, I mean,
Italics
really go outrageous.
is sideways.
Really go outrageous with, you know, like.
Yeah, like the whole journal, right?
The letters are like 3 or 4 times the size of the average italics and bold, whatever.
Right. I wouldn't suggest it. That's just from my experience. I mean, not that big, you know.
Yeah.
But definitely.
I've seen one book like that, and it's just so unique and so unusual, it almost makes you want to read it.
Right. All right. So, getting back to the platform, because like I said, I got a lot of information to cover, and I want to make sure that I cover everything. Because you know why? Because I stayed up last night to make sure I get all of this information today. All right. So, your first chapter has to be the best chapter, or at least one of them. That's some game right there. It's like the first chapter of your book has to be the best chapter. You know why? Because if the first chapter ain't good, you ain't got to worry about them reading the rest of it. You ain't got to worry about what they think about chapter 2 because they ain't never read it. See what I'm saying? So you got to make sure that the first chapter is good because that first chapter is just like your book cover is the first impression that you're giving off to the consumer, and it's going to be the deciding factor if they want to support you, further support you, you know, or check out anywhere you work. Okay, moving right along. When people pick up your book, they look at the cover in the first few pages and make the decision right then and there if they want to continue reading. That's the truth. That's the truth. Imagine, just think about it. You've probably done it yourself. You've probably seen a book, it's like, I'm going to check this out. You've probably seen a book too, like, I'll pass on that one. So once again, your presentation is everything. Okay, moving right along. The next section that we're going to talk. Once all of these sections that I'm captioning are actually the chapters from my book. So like, once again, if somebody missed it, I'm going back over and highlighting things from my book that I want to share with you guys. Pretty much compressing everything so that I can make it in a way that's feasible to transfer this information from me to you. Okay? All right, so the next thing we're going to talk about is creating twists and turns. Creating twists and turns. You want to create twists and turns in your story because that's what's going to keep the reader engaged. That's a big word, engaged. Let me write that right here. I'm going to say it right here. Engaged. You want to keep our readers engaged, you know? You want to have your readers wondering what's going to happen next. That's the highlight of my writing right there. Like, okay, yeah, they think this is going to happen. Yeah, but I'm about to make this happen. And that's what I like about writing, because, you know, you make it to what you want it to be. You know, if you write that story, can't nobody write that story but you. So, you want to engage your readers to follow along in the story, start to think and feel as if they were the characters. Now that's when you know you're writing a good book. When the reader feel like that they actually there, like that they did it. They start feeling the character, they start feeling the character's emotions and the way that you're bringing across the story to actually start getting a sense of what the sound, what they're hearing that's going around there at that time, what it smells like. That's when you're a good artist. That's when you're perfecting your craft. When the reader is really in tune with your writing to the point where they can smell the scent in the air of what's going on at that particular time. All right, so you want to catch your reader's attention by creating a charming character to who the reader gets attached, adding crucial details about his or her actions, environment, responses, which builds up the character. Which basically was the same thing that I was just telling you. You know, you want to have your audience really following the character in tune with you to the point where they're wondering what's going to happen next with this character. You know, and it's all different types of people write about everything, different things. You know, like so. You know, if I'm writing a banging love story or a romance. Yeah, like, okay, she met Peter at the movies and so I wonder what's gonna happen next. Is Peter coming over or what? You know? Huh? What was it?
I say, well, is she pouring hot grease on?
Right, is she pouring hot, did she pour the hot grease on Peter or what? So, that's the key, is, you know, you want to keep your readers engaged, and that goes back to that word right there, engaged. You want to keep your readers engaged, you want to keep guessing, wondering what's going to happen next based on how you making them feel, right? Readers like to read about characters that they can relate to. And you know what? Over just from my experience, the most popular books that's out right now are biopic type of books. Books that are like, that's based on a true story. That type of thing. So, and that goes to what I said, like readers like to read about characters that they can relate to, or if not, they can relate to something that really happened. You know, and what I like to call that is reinventing the history books. That's what I do when I write. After I had that talk with the woman at Marcus Bookstore.
The one on Martin Luther King?
The one on Martin Luther King, 39 Martin Luther King, yeah. So, that's what I thought about. Readers like to read about characters that can relate to. Go ahead.
How do you find out what genre your book is?
Well, baby, you make your genre, you know? Like, I got some author friends right now, they're writing about some stuff that I never heard of. It's like some like, 3D animated, romance, serial killer type of, yeah. So, I mean, you create your own genre. Of course, there's a platform for you there. You know, some people like to write about drama, some people like to write about crime, some people like to write about true life, some people like to write about how-to, informative books, things like that. Let me get back to the platform.
How about you put two together, like a story and a how-to? Does that work?
A story and a how-to?
Yeah.
It will when you create it. Because, and like I said, that's the beautiful thing about this. There's no right or wrong way to do this. Because that's what makes it an art. Because everybody got their own, each individual gift. Okay, being very detailed is a good way to make readers' brain process words and make them feel as if they're really being stimulated by smell or touch or emotion, which I previously just mentioned. So we're gonna move forward to the next section, which is character development. Character development is important in your story because, like I said, if you got a good story that's going on, then 9 times out of 10 the reader is really following along and paying attention and want to figure out what's going to happen next. When a person picks up your book, they often want to connect with the character. They want to immerse themselves into the story that they forget about their own troubles. Ain't that deep? Somebody reading your book and then they so into your book that they start forgetting about their real life situations. I'm talking about your landlord just called and told you that the rent due and you need to pay him or you gonna get that 3-day notice. But that book's so good that you're gonna put that phone down and forgot about that. You're gonna forget about what they said. And when you got the ability to do that, man, then that makes you an amazing writer. You know that? So, we all know that the best movies are based on the best books, right?
I just wanted to say, as you were talking, we clicked in my mind about, I don't know if nobody seen it on the news yesterday, about the baby that had been missing for 18 years and they finally found her.
Wow.
She was missing for 18 years. So now they got the mother who kidnapped her 18 years ago from the hospital or the house. Yeah, that would be a good story to write.
Right. Yeah, so like I said, people that like to read about real things that happen and stuff like that, those are the most popular books. Second most popular book is Love and Romance. Not Secret. Taking over. And it's taking over so hard that I was forced to jump into that genre because the majority of the literary world's traffic is coming from readers that like to read about romance and erotica, that type of thing. And that's, like I said, last year I got a chance to go to Atlanta and I got a chance to meet a lot of people. And, all the major publishers that I talked to while I was up there, they, it wasn't not one of them that I didn't talk to that asked me, so what type of genre you write? Writing romance, because, romance, like if I was telling them I wrote romance, they probably would try to sign me right then and there, You see what I'm saying? Because that's what they're looking for. That's what this industry is looking for. People that go write romance and write this, number one. So, all right. So, moving right along. Okay, now we can get to branding, right? So, you want to define your brand. You want to come up with a checklist of everything for which your brand stands. So why it's important to create a good brand is because once you got a good product, you're going to need to have a good branding platform to bring in revenue or whatever you're trying to do for the product that you're producing. That's just common sense. It's like, and one of the things that I see me, I'm more so into branding my name. You see what I'm saying? I'm Arthur King Williams. You see what I'm saying? And I spoke that into existence one day. One day I woke up and I was like, I'm Arthur King Williams. And, I'm here, and I've been doing it for a while, and it's what's been working for me. And that's the whole purpose of this workshop, so I can pass on this information because maybe it'll work for you as well. I made some good money selling books, making books, selling books, whatever, The thing, let me tell you this. If you think that you're going to become an author and you're going to wake up tomorrow with a whole bunch of money in your Amazon account, you are crazy. It don't work like that. Like I said, if I write full time and not go to work, and trust me, I'll get right. But it's not like that. When you're selling books, and it's more about creating platforms like this, getting a chance to really get out and talk to people, shaking hands, making friends, and giving people a feel for what it is that you got going on. Right? So that's a big part of branding. At profession. No, and then what I wanted to share with you guys. So,
What are
get to that. 1 second. Yep, we get to that. So, one of my branding logos is Empire. And trust me when I tell you this, you might believe me, might not, but like, you know, I was rocking Empire like before the TV show came out, all of that, you know what I'm saying? When the TV show came out, I could have swore they was watching me. I'm like, man, I heard of Big Brother, but you know what I'm saying? It's like, so, but what Empire means to me is that if I lost everything that I have today, I am capable and willing of getting it all back and making it happen again. That's what Empire means to me.
So if you hold something and you're absolutely sure about it, it would behoove you to copyright that, to lock it in, so nobody else can steal it.
Right. See, but you learn these things as you go, as it come on, as you progress and make you better. And like they say, experience is the best teacher. So of course I thought about that. I said, man, you know what, man, if I would have had Empire branded, if I would have had that logo copyrighted, man, they owe me some money right now.
Wow.
But can't cry for school milk, right? So back to the lecture at hand, branding, right? So learn how to use good branding strategies to position your brand in a way that will help consumers seek and appreciate the greater value of your brand. Hello. So, if you can't understand, so I'm going to read this to you again, right? And then just think about how we're here today. You see what I'm saying? To me, that was my way. It says, learn how to use good branding strategies to position your brand in a way that will help consumers seek and appreciate the greater value of the brand. So with that being said, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 people that probably didn't know anything about Arthur King William today, right? Got shuffled into a room at the West Oakland Library. Thankful to Susie Moorhead, right? That helped orchestrate this whole thing. But that's what I'm saying. That was a creative way of engaging you guys to get in here and learn a little bit about me and what I got going on. And it's the same thing that you're going to have to do if you choose to further with this literary career that I'm talking about.
I was just gonna say really quick, like the flyer where you like get to the side. That's what made me want to.
Me too.
That's what got me.
That's what got me.
I came to check out books and saw your flyer.
Right,
and
yeah.
got me.
So-
Your picture on it.
Yeah. So I'm gonna talk about that. I'm gonna talk about marketing. You know what I'm saying? That's marketing. You know what I'm saying? Is man, you know what? I'm gonna be honest with y'all. The only thing, because hey, you gotta have confidence in your work. I write good books. And to my heart, in my heart, I write good books. I write great books. And I feel like the only thing that's stands between me and millions right now is proper marketing. Now, if I knew the man that made those ads that put on them benches, and if I knew that man that climbed up there to put them signs on them billboards, I'd probably be somewhere right now. So, but in the meantime, until I find them, what I gotta do is keep producing. That's what you gotta do. That's when this subject I'm talking about, is staying focused. You gotta keep producing. You see what I'm saying? Because before the sunshine is the rain. You see what I'm saying? And if you can make it through the rain, you can make it anything. So, back to the lecture at hand. Branding. Creativity and authenticity are a big part of building up your brand. Learn to develop a brand that has a personality. It plays a big part in what people know, people think, and people say about you. See what I'm saying? So, like I said, each and every one of you guys are uniquely different in your own way. And that's what makes this so beautiful, because like each and every one of you guys got your own story to write. And each and every one of you guys should write a story that I can't write. Pretty much, basically, in the nutshell. Now, stand focused. Move right along to the next section. Stand focused. It's been proven that timing could be a big cause of writer's block. Okay? No matter what, keep moving forward. Keep your eye on the prize. Stay focused on getting your timeline from the beginning to the end. So, when you write a book, guess what? Don't nothing else matter but from the beginning to the end. You know why? Because like I said, you always get to come back and remix the middle. You always get to come back and add or take away and, make it to where it is appealing to you, to where it's exactly the way you want it to be. Right? Can anybody tell me what writer's block is? Anybody heard of writer's block? Anybody got a good idea what it is when it comes? I'm engaging the crowd right now. It's a big key word for today. Engaging.
You just feel kind of stuck, like you don't know what the next thing to say, and you don't know exactly where to go.
Exactly. So, I'm not even gonna write this because it's too long, and I want to move right along. So, writer's block is the condition of being unable to think of what to write or how to proceed with writing. Now, from my experience, let me share this with y'all. The best times that I like to write, because like I said, I go to work every day. I got a regular job. I got a whole other life inside of writing. So there's a discipline inside of me to tell me, hey, I need to put away an hour or two to the side, maybe when I come home from work or right before I go to sleep. Whenever it is, I need to dedicate 2 hours of my day to writing. Right? So, let me tell you, the best times that I like to write are at night times. It's just something about writing at night. I like to write at night, and I like to sit at a table. It's something about sitting at a table. It just makes me feel executive. I like to sit at a table, and I like to write, and I like to drink a cup of coffee. That's just me. That's my thing. And you put me in a corner at night, at the table, with a cup of coffee, and I'm going to town. Okay, so, share about the time that I like to write, which I just shared with you. At night, with a strong cup of coffee. It's the only time I write, but it's definitely the most productive. I'm going to tell y'all something. Another thing, if you don't want writer's block, do not try to sit down at the computer and write like that. Like writing, typing, writing, while you're thinking. It's just too much. From my experience, I like to write. I like to get all my thoughts together and just write everything down, and then I like to go back over and type everything up and go over it like that. That's just my personal experience. It works for me. It works. Okay. Another thing I found out about myself is that I like being seated at a desk or a table. It gives me a feeling that I'm about to accomplish something great, which I usually do. Now, like I said, I'm an author and publisher of 5 books, so every time that I see one of my books come to life, it was like watching one of my babies born. You see what I'm saying? And I got a few of them, all my babies over there, all my kids. Yep. Love them to death. They're really supporting. So, now I'm going to talk about the importance of editing. Somebody asked me about editing earlier, right? So now we're going to talk about editing. So, and we almost done, y'all. Let me see, we're on the importance of editing right now, which means that I have maybe about importance of editing, so I have 4 more sections to cover. So for this section though, I'm actually going to start off by having one of you guys volunteer and read. I need a volunteer, and I'm going to have a reader read chapter 9, page 35, which is the importance of editing. So by the way, everybody going to leave with one of these books today. Alright, how to publish on how to write. That's a treat that I brought for you guys so you can take home with you. I'm going to have her read chapter 9, page 35, the importance of editing something. Just go ahead.
Chapter 9, the importance of editing. After recently finishing my 3rd project, I realized how important it is to have someone else edit my work. No matter how great of an editor we may think of ourselves, there are just some things that we will not be able to catch while editing your own work. It is said that few readers purchase a book without first reading a few pages. A killer cover and a catchy title will grab their attention, but flawless, error free writing will seal the deal. There is nothing more distracting than a manuscript that is full of errors. You can also be the best writer ever, but if your book is full of misspelled words and bad punctuation and poor grammar, readers will doubt your ability to carry the story through. Professional editing goes deeper than simply proofreading. Getting your work edited guarantees that your book is clear and flows well. I did not always realize the importance of good editing, but after receiving some brutally honest reviews, that I suggested.
All right, that's good. Thank you.
Thank you.
So yeah, so editing is important because, like I said, and that just goes back to like I said. So you know, I'm working hard. I'm going hard on this now. But man, I'm trying to get this done. I'm trying to get this out, and I'm trying to get this book done by Christmas. I'm trying to bless the people with a Christmas gift. See what I'm saying? But all that work goes in vain if I don't take the time to make sure everything was done in a proper manner to where when people read my work, they actually get what they expected to get out of it. Because like I said, you can lose some people along the way with bad grammar, grammatical errors, stuff like that. You got some people that's just some real critics out there, and just the littlest thing wrong there, close that book right then and there, and you would never see a letter by, you would never hear from them again, and you'll never get that review. That just go out the door. Okay? A killer cover and a catchy title will grab the attention, but flawless, error-free writing will seal the deal. So I took that from my book as well, How to Publish Your Own Novel. I feel like that's just a good piece of advice to share with anybody that's on this journey. A killer cover and a catchy title will grab the attention, but flawless, error-free writing will seal the deal.
I think that maybe older people, it might be weird, but older people to edit your books because they went to school and they learned the hard way, a more strict regimen, that they would catch the grammatical errors and the punctuation better if you could find someone like that.
Right. And then also just to pass on some more information, because that's what I'm here to do. Like a lot of people, a lot of authors that I know, and people that in the writing and stuff like that, you can actually find students if you post an ad on Craigslist, something like that, for editors and stuff like that, because that's what they do. You have like college students that are willing, they will take an assignment, in return for compensation. It might be a small fee or whatever, but I'm sure they don't want to do it for free. Everybody pretty much on the same page, 2017, there's nothing free.
So what's more important, grammatical correctness or a page or a paragraph or something that is of your essence that doesn't fall into any grammatical form at all?
Well, I think that's sometimes
your little piece of art, but this is the way I want it.
Yeah, and this is a jewel for you. Sometimes it's good for your story not to fall into any grammatical form. Yeah. See what I'm saying? And because that's what makes it the art. Yeah. That's what allows it to fall in the category of being an art. You see, because there's no right and wrong way to do it, because it's strictly off of your. See what I'm saying? Your influence. So,
is that should just be, you just put it out there. You don't have to say this is my own art. You don't have to say this is. I know that this is grammatically correct.
Because it's pretty much self-explanatory, right? Because your book, they're reading, they're tuning in. This is your world. Right. See what I'm saying? You ran the show. So can't nobody write your book but you. Alright, moving right along. You could be the best writer ever, but if your book is full of misspelled words, bad punctuations, and poor grammar, readers will doubt your ability to carry the story through. Hello, you just lost the reader. You just lost the reader, right there. And because you did not have the ability to keep them properly engaged. Okay? Keeping them engaged is keeping them entertained. To engage is to entertain one's thoughts, mind, feelings, such and such. Right? Okay. We're going to talk about formatting right now. This is one of the most important sections that I'm going to talk about, because you can have a well-written book, good story, killer cover, everything, but if you don't got that book formatted properly, guess what? The press is going to send that manuscript right back to you. And what's going to happen is that they're going to send it back to you, and they're going to tell you, yeah, you need to fix this, you're going to fix this, you need to fix this, and they're going to send it right back to you. And then eventually what's going to happen is they're going to offer the services to you. Yeah, we can do this for you. We can go ahead and fix all these errors, such, and this costs X amount of dollars. At that point in time, you no longer have that title of being a self-published artist because somebody just did it for you. See what I'm saying? So let's just reflect back to what I said. Be your own publisher. Make things happen for yourself, because everything that they do for you, you can totally do it for yourself. Okay? Okay, so right now, I'm going to need another volunteer to read chapter 10, page 39, and this is about formatting. Anybody want to volunteer? Page 39, we almost done.
39?
Yep.
Chapter 10, formatting. Okay, so listen up. This is the most important component to finally getting your book published. Without proper formatting, it is likely that the printing company will deny your manuscript. I am about to teach you the true definition of independent publishing. As I said before, sometimes experience is the best teacher. I must have paid over $1,000 for someone to do for me the same thing I am about to teach you now the first time I published a book. Once you have completed your manuscript in Microsoft Word, there are going to be a few things that you will need to change. Keep in mind the notes I am about to share with you for formatting a book.
Take notes on this.
Is that is 6 by 9 inches, so this size.
This is typically for a book that's ideally 6 by 9 inches, which is.
This particular format can go anywhere for distribution. It costs less to produce and can fit more things on a page. The first thing you want to do is open up your manuscript in Microsoft Word and navigate to the Page Layout tab. The Page Layout tab will give you all the options you need to make your changes. Once you have found the Page Layout tab, click the Paper tab. The Paper tab is where you pick the size of your book, which is 6 by 9 inches.
And when you keep going to the next page?
Yeah, you could go ahead and breeze through this because, well, just read a few more paragraphs and
Okay.
we'll just likely leave it there because, like I said, everybody that's here tonight, everybody should leave here with a copy of this book. So the information is in here. If you need to reflect back to the formatting chapter, this is key. This is what I'm telling you. This is key. This can separate you from, being a person that has a manuscript fully done, ready to go, everything. If you don't format your book properly, it will not make it through the press to be printed out, and it will not come out like this. Okay, you'll never see that. So go ahead, just read about a few more paragraphs.
Once you've chosen the 6 by 9 setting, look right below and select to apply to the entire document. Then hit OK. Go back to the page setup and this time click on the margins. There is a section that says pages in the middle of a pop-up box. Click to the right of that and select mirror margins. As a quick side note, I must emphasize how important it is to set this up correctly and avoid any printing errors, because if things are not done in this exact way, there's a good chance your manuscript will be denied. While still in the Margins tab at the top where you can change the measurements for your margins, you will need to enter these numbers. You should see 6 boxes corresponding to the top, inside, gutter, bottom, and outside, and they should be changed to the following measurements. the top should be 0.4, inside 0.25, gutter 0.5, and bottom 0.3.
Time out. So, if you notice, these are actual measurements, like I said. So when you get to the formatting part, like you gotta have these numbers correct. What these numbers are that we're talking about right now, as far as like formatting and things like that. Formatting is where these words start at from the middle of this page. This is called the spine of the book. So you gotta know that measurement it's about 0.5. So when you enter it, when you go to the page layout and you navigate through all the things and you're setting all it up, so the spine 0.5. Also, all of these are measurements that you put in, which is gonna make your book pass.
So do you mostly produce in Microsoft Word, or do you also use any Adobe products?
I mostly publish in Word.
Okay.
Yeah, I publish in Word. This is where all of this is gonna take place at, in Microsoft Word. And you navigate to the page layout tab. So yeah, so all of these different measurements, you know, from the bottom of the page to where the words first start, come up on the top of the page. These are all measurements that you're gonna have to manually put in. This is the hardest part of putting your book together, but it's like you want to have this is like your insurance right here. This is when you got your story ready to go, everything like that. You don't want to get to this part and have to pay somebody to have to, you know, get through this part, because eventually that's what's going to happen if you don't figure it out. So, this is what I did. Everybody got a notebook. Write down this information right here. So, there is actually a YouTube video that can assist you with putting in all of these in the formatting information. So if you go to YouTube, right, and you type in create space, setting page size and margins, you will see a whole bunch of videos pop up, right? So out of all of those videos that pop up, you want to watch the video that was made by Killer Book Marketing. Alright? So once you go to YouTube and you type in create space, setting page size and margins, you see a whole bunch of videos that pop up that show you how to format your manuscript, but the one that's most effective and that I like and that's just pretty much just straight to the point and it's easy to follow is the one that's made by Killer Book Marketing. That's their YouTube channel. So look for this video, Create Space, Setting Page Size and Margins by Killer Book Marketing. And it's a good video, it's real informative, and basically everything that I'm telling you right now, they actually show you, they go through step by step and show you, you know, where you need to click at, what box you need to open up to actually get to these sizes and things like that. So, just got you that information. That's a jewel right there. You want to write that down, keep that, so you can refer to that later. And because without that, everything that I'm saying right now just sounds like gibberish. Okay? I'm one of those type of people that I learn. I gotta see it, and once you show it to me, then I got it. And so it's the same fact that I got each and every one of y'all that it won't be too much to follow. Just go there, check it out, and you'll catch on. So go through the whole document and make sure that every new chapter starts at the top of the page. That's important. That's key. Because, so the process at a glance is that you produce a story, you write it, you timeline the project, you put everything in it that you want in there in chronological order. So when you get to the end, of the book, you want to go through the whole document and make sure that each chapter starts on a new page. So, like, with that being said, so when you open a book, like chapter 1, you want that starting at the top of the page. Like you don't want to open a book and then let's just say chapter 1 looks fine, chapter 2 looks fine, but then chapter 3 starts on the same page that chapter 2 ends. So what I learned later was, at first I used to just manually do it, because okay. So, on the other side note, everybody circle this word, highlight this word, because the formula that I'm giving you today is for this platform, which is called Create Space. Create Space is a self-publishing platform, right? So go to Google and Create Space, and once you get your manuscript together, put together, formatted and everything, this is where you will be uploading your final manuscript to where it'll go live. And once you upload your manuscript to Create Space, right, which is a sub-company of Amazon, right, your book then becomes available to over 25,000 major retailers, including Barnes & Noble, Amazon, all of that. It's automatically go live. There's nothing else that you need to do. Okay? Create Space is a sub-company of Amazon. So you ain't gotta worry about your book being in good hands like Allstate. You working with Amazon sub-company, Create Space, and they're all for the self-publishing process. That was the purpose that they made this platform, was for people like you and me to upload our art, our way. So
is that free?
It's free.
Do they take your cut?
It's free, but listen, this is what I'm telling you. The more things that you learn how to do yourself, the less money that you'll ever have to worry about. Like I said, this is a company, just like any company. They offer services, things like that. Things you know how to do yourself. Cut the middleman out. You see what I'm saying? I'm telling you how to format your book right now so that you don't have to rely on the services that they're providing for you. If you just want to take that route, you just don't want to be bothered with it, and you just don't have no passion revolved around really just watching this thing grow from what you created yourself, then they could just put it together for you. You could pay them, But once again, that's when you lose that title of being a self-publisher, because you're not self-publishing, you're allowing somebody to do it for you. Right? So I thought that was important. Go through the whole document and make sure that every new chapter starts at the top of the page. Bam. So the next thing I'm going to talk about is creating a good synopsis. Okay? Creating a good synopsis. Okay, so we got 2 more sections to cover. Susie, we on good time in here?
Yeah,
Okay. I got 2 more sections to cover. I'm going to make them real brief because I want to get into I got some gifts for y'all. I'm going to pass out some books to some of you guys. Sign some books. We're going to take some pictures. I'm going to pass some more information out to you guys.
And questions. You've got questions.
Yeah, and we're gonna have questions as well too. All right, Q&A. So the next thing I'm going to talk about is creating a good synopsis, and actually what I have planned for was to have. I'm gonna need a volunteer. We're gonna go through this whole chapter of creating a good synopsis. All right. So do I got any volunteers, or do y'all want to hear me read it? I'll read it too. Okay. So creating a good synopsis. By the time you make it to the end of your book, you should have a well-rounded idea of what your story is actually about. Writing a good synopsis can include highlighting the emotional twists and turns I wrote about earlier. When you get ready to write a synopsis, keep in mind that most of the work has already been done. At this point, writing your synopsis is simply a matter of taking the major story points and editing them into something resembling a short story. Your synopsis can be just as important as creating a killer cover because it can be one of the first things that the reader sees. So I'm going to take the time out and just go a little bit further on that. Okay, so writing the synopsis is just as important as having a killer cover. Because once again, when we're talking about a killer cover, we're talking about the front of the book. When we're talking about a synopsis, we're talking about the back of the book. See? Because that's the next thing they're going to look at. After they see that killer cover, now they want to know, what is this book about? And that's where it's your job to sell them. Everything with your story, that timeline process I was talking about, everything that you fit in there from A to Z, everything that you wanted to happen in your story, you want to feather that and just give them a little bit of what your story is about in a way that makes them want to read it, right? And from my experience, I like writing the synopsis. I like that to be the last thing that I do. After I have a good story and I timeline my whole project and I got everything going in there that I wanted to going on, then I'm able to come up with a good synopsis because I actually can tell you what the book is about. You see what I'm saying? Because it's finished, it's done, and I know exactly every twist and turn that I've added to that story. Right? Okay, so back to the lecture at hand. At this point, writing this synopsis will take the major story points and editing them into something resembling a short story. Your synopsis can be just as important as creating a killer cover because it can be one of the first things that the reader sees. In a competitive market, having a good synopsis as well as a killer cover go hand in hand, seducing your readers and audience and luring them into your work. That's powerful. You gotta lure your readers in. Visually, mentally. A lot of time you're going the non-independent publishing route. A synopsis in the first 3 chapters of your book are usually what they ask for because they want to see beginning to end what happens in your story. So like I said, if you decide to go the other route, the non-self-publishing route, typically what publishers do is they ask you to send the first 3-4 chapters of your story, or submit the manuscript with at least 30,000 words. That's just the requirements. See? And the synopsis ensures characters' action and motivations are realistic. Your synopsis should tell what your character cares about and show what is at stake for them. So like I said, that's that relationship that you want to build with the reader, where you got the reader really cares what's going to happen to the character. Like, is this character about to meet his demise or what? Like, they really care. Like, you playing on my heart now. Please don't let it happen to him or her. So that's how you want to have the reader. You want to grip them just like that. And moving right along this again, the short story, the short version of the synopsis is always an exaggeration of the story that entices the reader to buy or at least download a sample to their Kindle or iPad. Come on, man, we're trying to get downloads out here. That's what I'm saying. So that's what those reviews are important, because if somebody if you do talk somebody into checking out your work, 90% of people like to buy stuff that they know that somebody else have already bought and that are satisfied with. See what I'm saying? So if you got a good product, somebody else knows you got a good product, and somebody else knows somebody that knows that you got a good product, there's a good chance of getting that person to buy your product. Right. So remember that the short summary on the back of your book is your sales pitch. That's game right there. That's your sales pitch. That's what's going to get them. That's what's going to be the deciding factor if I'm taking this book to the cash register. Or if I'm online, I'm going to add this book to my cart. Then reading that synopsis is going to be the deciding factor in that. Okay. What you choose to put on the back of your book on the average should not exceed 150 words. A lot more important than a person might think, the 150 words you place on your back cover are arguably the most important words in your entire book. After the book title on the front cover, the back cover is the next thing readers look at when deciding whether to make a purchase. The back cover also functions as the primary ad for your book. Not only will it appear on the book itself, but you probably use it on your Amazon description. I say 150 to 200 words because that is all that will attractively fit on the back cover of most volumes. If the content is longer than that, you will have to make the font size so small that people may need a magnifying glass to read it. Let me tell you, don't nobody like reading with magnifying glass. Okay? This 2017, and I don't know too many.
What's a good font size?
Like I said, I use 12 to 14. 12 to 14 is good. Anybody, the common number is 12. So let me just tell you the right number. You know, sometimes I like to cheat. I like to use a little bit bigger font because I just like that look. You know, I just like that look, and I like because if your book is not properly formatted, you know, and the line spacing is not, then you can have like, you ever seen those little pocket Bibles? You know, that's the difference between your book. You know, your book could look like a pocket Bible, and then your book could look like this. It's all in the format. So, wrapping this up, let's see. Because I have some valuable information to give to y'all. I want to make sure that y'all get all of this. I just shared this information with y'all. YouTube has cool tutorials on how to publish literature using a platform called CreateSpace. This is the best platform that Amazon has made for average Joes like you and me. Stay focused now, because that is where this passion is going to kick in. You might lose yourself in moments where you cannot think of anything to say. Learn how to use these roadblocks to your advantage. I was once asked how my books were going to change the world. It was from that moment on that I decided I would start incorporating helpful information using people, places, and things, as well as times and events into my literature. And that's what I call reinventing history books. You see what I'm saying? I got my own little swag hidden inside of the literary world. And what my swag is what I mean by that is what I said, because like I said, you know, I was approached and asked how my books going to change the world, which in the end inspired me to write a how-to book, you know, to like be a helpful tool to anybody else who wants to get started on their literary career. Reinventing history books. So, what I mean by reinventing history books, I got this book. This book is called Guilty by Association. It is a murder mystery. It's a good murder mystery, though. Like, not your regular little, you know. This is a relatable murder mystery. I can relate to it. Like I said, I write things that I can relate to, you know, but that's what I say, everybody. But anyway, let me not get too far off on where I was going with this. So, reinventing history books. So, everybody in here familiar with Tupac, right? One of the dopest lyricists there ever was, you know, short-lived. But anyway, make a long story short, Tupac used to rant, and he used, if you listen to his music, he had a few songs where he's talking about, where he mentioned a little girl named Latasha Harlem. Latasha Harlem was from Los Angeles, where this book is based out of. You see what I'm saying? That's another thing I like to write about writing, is that I can go anywhere I want to go in the world. You see what I'm saying? Even if I ain't never been there. You see what I'm saying? That's the beauty part of writing, because I get to go to the library, like one of my books took place in South Beach, Florida. I ain't never been to South Beach, Florida. But I went to the library, and then I did some research on South Beach, Florida. And I learned about Ocean Boulevard, riding down Ocean Boulevard past Versace House. And I learned about Wet Willie's, going to Wet Willie's and ordering to call me a cab. And they called her to call me a cab, because by the time you get done drinking, you're going to really need to call you a cab, because you're not going to be able to drive. Alright? But that's the beauty in it, like I said. You know, that's the fun. That's my passion. That's the passion of that. I'm going to create this story. It's going to take place here. I ain't never been here, but I'm going to learn everything about here, so that, you know, when I write this story, anybody that's really from there can relate and can get a feel to where I'm at, what I'm doing, and you feel me, to everything that's going on. So, back to the lecture man, Latasha Harlem, right? So, reinventing history books. In this book, take place in LA, like I said, Los Angeles around the time of the riots, Rodney King thing, all of that stuff. Latasha Harlan was a little girl, she was a little black girl, that was inside of Empire Liquor Store in Los Angeles at the same time where the riots broke out and people started looting and everything like that. And the store owner of Empire Liquors, Latasha Harlan, walked in the store, $2 in her hand. She went to go get her something to drink, stuck the soda pop in her backpack, and didn't make it out the store. Died with that $2 in her hand because the store owner thought that she was stealing it. You see what I'm saying? And reading this in my book, you wouldn't even know that you're really like reliving a piece of history that really happened. You see what I'm saying? Now, like, I didn't go off in a deep tangent about, the whole little story. That would be too much like plagiarizing. But you see what I'm saying? In my own creative way, you feel me? I gave her a shout out, you feel me? And reinvented the history books by allowing this to be a reoccurring event of knowledge. You see what I'm saying? Passing on knowledge from realness, something that really happened. You see what I'm saying? Not only Latasha Harlan, Rodney King, all of that whole that's real. You see what I'm saying? Something that really happened. And it was like a big event. You could Google Rodney King and the Los Angeles riots and you could pull up plenty of information about it. So, I mean, it's not a secret. Okay? Creating a good synopsis, taking major story points and editing them into something resembling a short story. Having a good synopsis as well as a killer cover go hand in hand in seducing your reader and audience and luring them into your work. Use the opening paragraph of your synopsis to sell your product. You want to hint to the reader that what trouble they will encounter in the book and what hurdles the main character has to overcome. The short story on the back of your book is the sales pitch and has to be the all-star lineup of highlighting events that take place throughout the story. Woo! Just got to the last section. Right? Last section. Take a while to guess what the last section is. Because the last section is relevant to why we're here today. Right?
References.
So, inside of each of you, once you start this awesome, wonderful, literary journey that you have, right? You're going to find within yourself something that I like to call the independent grind. Okay? This is the independent grind right here. This is the independent grind. Me walking into the West Oakland Library, hollering at Susie, like, hey, I'm an author. I have some valuable information that I want to pass on to the public. Can you arrange it? Can you set me up a date where I can come in here and I can deliver some information that the people need to hear, right? That's the independent grind to me. That's my independent grind. But I, as an author, a publisher, and everything that I'm standing for and the platform that I'm trying to push, I have to know how to go out and shake hands and make friends and organize things like this and speak things like this into existence, right? So, the independent grind. Also, so I said that I was going to have, this is the last section, last chapter. I said that I was going to have somebody, a volunteer, go ahead and just bang the rest of this out all the way to the end. This is the last section on the independent grind.
Chapter 12, Independent Grind. Let's talk about the independent grind. The independent grind means that you will need to manage all creation yourself. Starting your own publishing company is not easy, but you can do it. It is going to require a lot of time, but keep in mind that all the time you take in creating, producing, and designing will pay off in the end. You will feel a sense of accomplishment looking at your finished product. You will need to learn about book size, paper types, and binding, which is also called trim size. YouTube has cool traditionals on how to publish literature using a platform called Creative Space. This is the best platform that Amazon has made for advantage. Joes like you and me. Stay focused now because that is where this position is going to kick in. You might lose yourself in a moment where you cannot think of anything to say. Learn how to use these roadblocks to your advantage. I once was asked how my books was going to change the world. It was from the moment on that I decided I would start incorporating help information using people, places, and things as well as times and events into my literature. What does grinding mean to you? One of the biggest things about your grind that you will learn is the importance of networking. This literary journey is all about what you can produce as well as what you can consume. In other words, it is about give and take. What game are you willing to give away? Also, what corners of the game can you learn to incorporate your productivity? Sometimes sit back and watch while you take note on other ways to do things. There is a lot to learn, but you have to be open-minded and remain technical as well as teachable as well as antimatic and creative. Of course, you will have to learn social media grind. Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and any other platforms where you can lure in audience. One of the biggest downsides of being independent is that you have to do things yourself. I have yet to figure out the best protocols and strategies for making, which is at this moment is the biggest roadblock between me and millions. Marketing. And strategies for marketing, which is at this moment is the biggest roadblock between me and millions. In the meantime, I will continue to produce, which hopes that at least one of my projects goes bananas, which will create an interest in the rest of my work. If you would buy one of them, you would need to buy them all, right? One of the greatest attributes of your independence grind would be shaking hands and making friends. If I waited for my sales to magnitude increase one line, then I would be waiting for a lifetime. Believe it or not, actually sales are the result of properly representing your product in a way that attracts the consumer. If I show my product to 10 people, I may not actually make a sale until I have proven to those 10 people that the product I have is desired by others. That is an old marketing trick. Believe it or not, you have a 90% better chance of selling your product when your potential customer knows that it is a product someone else has also brought and enjoyed. Makes sense, right? Of course it does. The primary reason it is important to stay independent it is because 80% of publishers will tell you that you have a great book and offer to publish it for you, but in return ask for thousands of dollars for a service that are actually of very little in value. They may tell you that your book is sure to sell many copies while insisting that you pay for a print run of thousands and then expect you to take these books and sell them yourself. Many of these publishers will take the publishing right to your book and very rarely offer any help with marketing or sales without competitions. As a freshman author in the game, I had to learn the hard way. My first book was actually published through a major company, which expected me to spend thousands for services they offered to provide for me. Who has $5,000 to pay for a book signing? Not me. In fact, the whole purpose of creating a product is to make money, not spend it. I get that sometimes you have to spend a little money to make some, but using basic common sense, I could never allow myself to put out more than I was bringing in. In the end, all publishing companies did for me was allow me to research what it was they had to offer and highlight those things as the list of things that I needed to learn. how to do myself. This is strictly just my point of view about how to go about your independent grind. Everything that works for me may not work for you. Just like what works for you may not work for me. What is important in any endeavor is taking a chance. So give yourself a shot. Do not expect anybody to believe in you if you do not believe in yourself. That is why I call it an independent grind, because it is an intimate grind, one that you find within yourself.
One that you find within yourself. Thank you. Congratulations, everybody. You did nice with my lifestyle. I'm super excited that everybody here got a chance to be a part of this first workshop partnership that I got going on with the Oakland Public Library. Once again, I want to say thank you to Susie Moorhead for allowing me and giving me a platform to host such a workshop to give away some valuable information to you guys. So, I guess we can start right now. Once again, I really want to say thank you to you guys because you guys are really the champs for showing up on this good Saturday, spending your time to come and listen to what I have to say. Because one thing I can tell you is that once you start this journey, there's nothing more in the world that you want is for somebody to believe in you and appreciate you for what you do. So, by all of you being here today, I really feel appreciated that you guys took the time to come and get a closer look into what I do and the information that I have to give away. Okay?
I've been working on a book for a long time, and I have a lot of small articles that I've done, and I have somebody that can help me publish it, but that person wants it in Word. Well, all I have is hard copies, so I'm thinking, well, I should be able to take these hard copies, articles, and scan them, and put them in Word, and then be able to send them to
When you say hard copies,
an article. But I don't have the article on a computer or anything, or on a disk, or on a flash drive.
What kind of file is it?
I don't know.
What kind of article?
Medical.
Okay. I'm kind of lost in where you're going with it, but I can't offer something.
How do you
to
put
help
it
you
in Word?
But I can help you out with. So look, this is what you can do.
I don't want to retype it all.
Exactly. That's what I'm going to tell you. There are programs out there. I don't necessarily, I'm not necessarily promoting for the software that's out there because, like, really, it'll just have you doing a lot more work than you really need to because you have to go over it and it's like editing twice. But they have software out there. One of the most popular ones is called Dragon, and it's basically an audio to text type of thing. So, like, what you would do is, I'm guessing in your situation, is you would take those articles and you would use the software you put on the headset and you just verbatim just read everything. And what it does is it makes the audio straight to text and it puts it inside of it puts it in like Word document format.
But I'm thinking, hey, why do that when I already have it on a page? Why can't I just scan the document and put it in Word without having to read each word and do this all over again?
So there's
If you scan it and put it in Word, would it still be editable?
So
Why not?
you can scan things and turn them into PDFs, and then there are certain programs that have PDF to
edit, right?
Yeah, like what you would have to do is either sit down and type it up or scan it to a PDF, and then there are PDF like readers where they can recognize words, but they're only about 80% efficient, so you have to reread through it and make sure, particularly with any jargon, they're garbage. So you need to scan it and then run it through one of those programs, which might cost money.
What are the programs called?
I don't know. Just look up like PDF to Word text reader or like text converter.
How do you determine how much your book costs?
Oh, that's a good question.
Oh, good question.
That's a good question. So, typically, like like I said, typically when I'm writing a book, I shoot for about 250 to 300 pages, because that's just like a well-sized book to me. Like this book right here is like, it's 263 pages. So like that's like a pretty good proportion 6x9 book. So you'll be amazed. So this is the glory. This is where all your work pay off at. When you get ready, after you've done everything yourself, like I've explained to you, you already have cut costs really low because you're doing everything yourself. So a book that's typically 250 to 300 pages is typically only going to cost you about $3 to produce. So when I get ready to order my books, right, each of these books, my price is $3 a piece. You see what I'm saying? And I turn around and I sell my autographed copies for $20. See what I'm saying? Because you're paying for the book, but you're also paying for my time, my effort, and what I do, you're paying for the dream. See what I'm saying? Because, anything that we do, the whole purpose of it, at least part of it, you see what I'm saying, is to make money.
Is there any value to put your work in?
So, but look, so to hold that thought. So, but just as well as this book is about $3 to produce. See, this one is just a little bit smaller of a book. You see what I'm saying? And this book is about 52 pages, and it costs me approximately $1.88 to produce this book. So every time I get ready to order copies of this book, I'm paying $1.88 a copy. Which, if you do the math, right, I'm paying $1.88, right? $20, then you got $1.88. So what I'm calculating down here is your profit, the profit margin of what you're actually making. So 10 subtract 8 is 2. 9, 8, 1, 10, 9, so 1, so I purchased the book for $1.88 a piece, turned around, sold the book for $20, signed, sealed, and delivered, and in return, I brought back the profit of $19.12.
You have to deliver it.
See, that's a good thing about Create Space is like, typically when I receive an order, I send that order right back through Create Space. So say like you order a book from me, and they handle all of the shipping and all of those fees are already incorporated and everything. So that's a good point. So typically, let's just say shipping altogether, the book costs about $3, but altogether, the book is going to come to, with shipping fees and everything, which is, I'm going to say $9, because that's what I feel like that it is. So $20 subtract $9 would be what? $11. So actually, you really made about $11. And then, this number can change as well. See, because it's like I said, it's different platforms that your book is going to be available to over 2,500 retailers. So you better believe that if your book is sold on Amazon get a piece of that. You see what I'm saying? They get a percentage of that. It's not like half or it's not no crazy, but they get a percentage of that. Anything sold on Amazon, anything, they get a percentage of that. Wherever your book is presented and sold on whatever platform that it was actually sold on, they get a percentage of that.
How much?
Just on averagely speaking, it's not, don't quote me on it, but like typically about $3-4 each book. Depending on the price too, depending on the price of your book. But when you create your book, they'll tell you your book, it can't be less than this, you know? And
so that $9 goes to $12.
That $9, what, the $9 that it takes to publish, because it was sold on Amazon, it went to $12. Right. So actually, you just only made $8, which is pretty good still, because you only paid $1.88. So anything over that mark, you win.
I know you said like marketing is one of the biggest keys that you need to focus focus on, target. Would you say that like consistently you've been doing like social media marketing, like Facebook, Twitter?
Yeah, I do some pretty aggressive marketing. I do. Like if you're on Facebook, friends and stuff like that, I'm constantly sharing projects and things like that. And also, just being in the whole world, it's good to support people. I got a lot of author friends, so our communication is pretty good. When I got a new project coming out, they usually shoot me a message. Hey, can you reshare my book? And blah, or can you share your book on my blog, on your blog page for me, or that type of thing. So that's pretty much how that part of it goes. So did I answer your question?
Pretty much. I was also going to ask like email marketing and newsletters.
Email marketing, I haven't really, I can't really tell you too much about that, but what I have started doing is like keeping in contact with all my customers and stuff like that. So I do have a list of like anybody that ever bought anything from me. Sometimes I just want to send them a gift. Like I recently just had a book come out on Christmas. If you bought a few books from me, it's probably a good chance that I just sent you that book on the strength. Because once again, I want to keep you engaged. You know what I mean? And I want to let you know that I'm still producing, I'm still relevant.
What about copyright?
What about copyright? So after CreateSpace, back to CreateSpace, right?
See ya.
Hold on. Don't leave. Because I got to get a picture with you, all right? Everybody that's here today, don't leave without a picture. Come take our picture right quick. But, and you know why? You know why I say that? Because once again, just like I've told you and I've talked about, one of the most important things that we're doing is marketing. You see what I'm saying? So this interaction today and all of this is a form of marketing. You see what I'm saying? Because once I posted on my Facebook page and, and I was showing what was going on here today at the West Oakland Library, it's going to be somebody somewhere that was wishing that was a part of that. And you also get a book. This is your book to keep. All right?
Can I put my arm around you?
Go ahead.
Awesome. Thank you.
And
Thank you so much.
All right, once again, like I said, thank you for taking the time out your day. And for checking out, listening to what I got to say. Huh? Yeah, no problem. You mean another book? Oh, yeah, I want to sign that book for you, too, as well. All right? Yeah, why don't we just get a group picture with everybody? Why not? Everybody else, everybody.
I was going to make a suggestion. If we want to make a book group, we all put our names on the list and we keep in touch and we push each other.
That would be wonderful. So I got, even though we're about to take a picture and everything, like I don't want everybody to disperse. All right, I'm gonna do about 10 more minutes of a Q&A, and then I actually I'm gonna sit down and take the time to sign all y'all books. I got a few gifts for y'all too. So like anybody that's read none of my books, I brought a few books today. I want y'all to leave with some books. It's my biggest thing today. All right. My girl, she gonna take the picture. So that's a good idea. Maybe we can have Susie, we all sign that, put down your information or whatever, have Susie make some copies or whatever. Have Susie make a copy of it and give it to everybody. That way we keep in touch with
His phone died. Okay. So I want to thank everyone for tuning in to Arthur King Williams workshop. It was awesome. He did a great job. And we're signing off, and we just want to thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you.